What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the PSN Party Podcast. I am your host, BMG, and I am joined by my co-host this evening, Sentinel. Sentinel, how are you, sir?
I'm good, BMG. Great today. Very glad to be on the PSN Party Podcast. I enjoy every single episode.
Good. That's what I like to hear. And our special guest this evening, John Wolf. How are you, sir?
BMG, thank you so much to you and Sentinel for extending your hand and sending me an invite to this show. Even though I'm primarily known as an Xbox gamer, doesn't mean that I don't game on PlayStation. I think that things like this and cross conversion on having individuals on shows that prefer different consoles and stuff is so important to this gaming space that we're in, right? Because at the end of the day, we all share the same community. So I really do appreciate the invite, guys, and I'm looking forward to it. You guys are almost to 1,000 subs, as I mentioned in the green room. So congrats on that to both of you. That's just a testament to your hard work. And guys, if you're not subscribed yet, I recommend you do so. Hit that thumbs up button. Give these guys a little bit of help, man. Share this out. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the kind words. It's great to have you on. Just so everyone knows, obviously, we are on our march to 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll be doing a special 1K subscriber live show where we'll be giving away loads of prizes, loads of codes for different games. But the biggest game that we're going to be giving away is God of War Ragnarok. So for your chance to be in with a chance of winning that, you like, share, subscribe, send proof that obviously that you've subscribed to the channel, and join us on the live show. We'll announce that in the future once we hit that goal, but keep an eye on the socials for more information. As well as this evening, we are giving away a code for Horizon Forbidden West, which is the cross-gen PS4, PS5 version. So it doesn't matter which of the two consoles you've got, you're going to be able to play. To be in a chance for winning that, all you have to be is in the chat and subscribed. What I'll do is, as the show goes on, I will add you to our wheel, and we will spin the wheel at some point in the show, probably towards the end, and we'll announce the winner and we'll get that code to you. But so tonight's topics include Sony partnering with Honda, SpiderMan Miles Morales doing good on PC, and The Witcher update is coming out soon. But before we get into all that, let's get into what everyone's been playing. John Wolf, I'll come to you first. What have you been playing this week, sir?
Modern Warfare 2, brother. As you can see, I decided to use the ghost little meme there. The so the little stare there. So I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare 2, guys. The game is absolutely fire. It's definitely Call of Duty's comeback. Infinity Ward always, in my opinion, it knocks it out of the park whenever they bring out their Call of Duty title, and I think that this is no exception. Single player has been a blast. I've also been playing a little bit of God of War Ragnarok here and there. I haven't gone 100%. I haven't been 100% committed to it because I want to take my time with it, man. I really want to kind of get enthralled by the story, really enjoy the visuals and all that good stuff. So I played it the first days of release, and I haven't touched it ever since, but I'm planning on going back probably this weekend. But that's about it, man, those two games.
Awesome. I've not had a chance to touch on to the Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone 2 yet. I've not played Call of Duty since Black Ops 2, which back in my few younger years I was very good at, and I really enjoyed playing. And I did think about picking up Modern Warfare 2, but knowing it was going to be a 2-year game pretty much, and then when they sort of the stuff came out on the earnings call and Jason Schreier cleared up on Bloomberg that, there's a premium game coming out next year, which is pretty much going to be a full-priced expansion to Modern Warfare 2. I was like, it just feels like it's literally just a new game, but they're just keeping it under the Modern Warfare 2 title. So for now, I'm going to give it a miss, but we'll see. We'll see where we end up. Sentinel, what have you been playing this week, sir?
Surprisingly, I've actually been getting back into Halo Infinite. I know I pre-ordered it at launch, I started playing it at launch, and I played it for a while. I kind of got tired of it and went to other stuff, but they had this huge winter update, and I wanted to check it out. So I came back, and I've been playing a lot of multiplayer, getting good again, and I had been playing Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer for a while, but they don't have a hardcore mode at launch, so there's still it's kind of like I felt like there was a lot of people in there that were it was an extreme range of skill, ranging from newbies to pros. I mean, in like some matches you would just get completely stumped. And I played it pretty religiously for 2 weeks, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wait until they release a huge update where they kind of address this. And so I took some time away and I went back to Halo Infinite, and I've really been enjoying Halo Infinite. I was playing Forza Horizon 5, but they shut down the auction house, so I guess they're supposed to bring it back sometime this week. I remember last week it was down, so I had been playing Forza Horizon 5 pretty regularly, but I took a break for that because they shut down the auction house, and it's a big part of the game. So I was kind of like, I'm just going to focus on Halo for a while, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest.
Let me ask you something, right? And I'm sorry to kind of throw myself in here. So the biggest game mode that I have been enjoying in Modern Warfare 2 is that new third-person mode. And it honestly, I've always been a fan of COD, but what sold me on it, that it has me so excited, and I just can't, and I basically play it every day, is that it gives me that SOCOM vibe. Are you guys SOCOM guys?
Yes.
Back in the PS2 days.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I used to love SOCOM. I remember having the. Remember when they brought the headset in where you could give voice commands to your?
Yep.
Yes,
I do.
Yeah, I used to love that.
it's definitely scratching that SOCOM itch, man, and that's why I know we're not going to be talking about the whole Activision thing, but that's why I really do hope that at the end of this, Sony benefits and the players benefit by introducing SOCOM again to the community, because it's a beloved franchise, man, that needs to come back 100%.
Agreed, definitely.
Good. So just answer Mr. Auditors 96 in the chat. When is the draw, by the way? We're going to do it at some point through the show. Everyone that comments in the chat, you will be added to the Wheel of Fortune, if you will. And at some point, probably towards the end of the show, we will give that a spin, and I'll announce the winner on the show. And then what you'll do is you will just have to I'll DM, have your DMs open. I'll DM you on Twitter to show me proof that you're obviously subscribed as well, and I will send that code to you. And I'll also post proof of the spin so everyone knows everything's been done fairly, and so nobody thinks anyone's been specialized or anything like that. We're not about that here. It's everyone's got an equal chance, and all you got to do is be in the chat. But let's just give a quick shout out who we've got in so far. So far, going from the top, One Nutter Quitter. Good evening, Gustavo Ariel. I do apologise if I butchered your name. I am awful at pronouncing names, but good evening, Mr. Auditor 96. Good evening, Draw. Good evening, and Muppet. Good evening. It's great to see you all there. You are all entered into the draw so far. And obviously, as I've said before, if you win, what we'll do is we'll DM you on Twitter, and we'll just obviously take a quick screenshot of show proof that you've subscribed, and I will get that code to you. I have that code sat here, so it is ready to go. What have I been playing this week? Pretty much the same game that I've been playing since last Wednesday, and that is God of War Ragnarok. I'm about 16 hours in now. It's got very interesting. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if any of you guys, obviously, if you guys have touched it yet. I do highly recommend if you get a chance to play it. I do also say play the first game, God of War 2018 first, because it kind of, draws a lot from what happened there into the new one. And watching the recap, which you can do in Ragnarok if you didn't want to jump into God of War 2018, it gives you a very, very quick what happened, but you don't kind of get that, how would I say it, like that feeling, like that emotion, that the connection with the characters. if you don't actually play the game. It's it's strange. It's kind of like a very quick montage, like it's literally like a minute of what happened. Boom, 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 boom. Here you are. You're in the new game, and you can kind of lose a bit of that, that spark and that in the game otherwise. But other than that, briefly, myself, Sentinel Gaming, and a friendly pest, we played the Halo co-op campaign, which was fun. I very much did learn that I can't drive vehicles without lodging them in trees, rocks, or flying them off a cliff.
Yep.
Oh, that was an experience. But it was all good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week. So right, let's dive into the first topic. First one's not a huge one, but as it's just had a live stream, I thought we might as well give it a mention as the first topic of the show. The Witcher next gen update. They just literally came off a live stream where they went through what you're going to see in the PC update, what you're going to see in the Xbox Series X, Series S, and PlayStation 5 update coming on the 14th of December, which just happens to be my wedding anniversary. So that's like a wedding anniversary present, I think, to me. So so I'm looking forward to having a play in that. So yeah, we'll just go through what was announced. This comes from Shinobi over at Twitter. He gave us a quick rundown, which makes it easier than going through an entire blog post to pick out a few bits. The Witcher 3 Next Gen Update comes out on the 14th of December 2022, and it includes the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X will have a 60 FPS performance mode or a 30 FPS quality mode with ray tracing. All modes will come with real-time global illumination with ray tracing and ambient occlusion. Don't ask me what that means because I have no idea what ambient occlusion means. So if one of you guys know, the chat knows, feel free to educate me in that one. FSR 2.0 implementation. For the PlayStation 5, it will have DualSense haptics, new close-up camera options, reworked foliage, improved textures and LOD, and awesome QOL changes. Have you guys played The Witcher 3? Go on, John Wolf. You're our guest. You go first.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I picked up The Witcher 3 when it first came out on the original Xbox One, the original Xbox One version. I put a good 6 hours into it, but I never finished it. It was a little too slow paced for me in the beginning, and I was at the stage where I don't know. I just got busy with other stuff, and I never got back to it. But it is definitely one game that I have always told myself I've always regretted not playing through and never going back to, right? So when the release of the Xbox SX and PS5 came out, and I heard that there was going to be an upgrade, I've been waiting ever since, and anxiously waiting, right, to jump to get knee deep in it. Now, what after hearing this announcement is that this is how you do it. All right, this is right. All of the upgrades, 2.0, all the little bells and whistles that they're putting into this update is, in my opinion, how games in this generation should be fully optimized to the max, right? To really take advantage of these consoles that have the horsepower in them, right? Use it. It has the power. Use it. And I think that this right here, dude, made me very excited when I read it today earlier, because I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that I waited, and it's gonna be really nice to jump in there. 60 FPS mode, bro. I mean, you're talking about the smoothness of having a 60 FPS mode. They're including ray tracing on the Xbox Series S. Are you kidding me? On a console that has been scrutinized in the last couple of months, that's been taken through the ringer, and here you are being that system is more than capable. So I mean, this is nothing but great news and very exciting, man.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of one of them. I think it's some. I did The Witcher 3. I never completed it. I got to. Oh, I think I got through about 3/4 of the game, and then I kind of dropped off it. Only because, like I say, it's just such a big game, and there was so much coming out, other games to play, and I thought, you know what, I'll come back to it at some point, and I never did. I kind of dropped off it, and then when they had the announcement that they were doing a next gen patch that was coming out, I thought, I own the game. I own the Game of the Year edition. I didn't touch any of the expansions, which apparently one of the expansions, is it Blood and Wine? I think it is. It's literally the size of The Witcher 3. So, you know, there's a lot.
It's pretty much been labeled as the standard for DLC. You know.
Yeah. There's a lot to jump into there. So I'm looking forward to actually jumping back in. I've held off. I was a bit disappointed when they announced that they were having to delay the game because of what do you call it? The studio that they took it off. I can't remember the name of the studio. They took it off and then brought it in house.
Oh, yeah.
It was a
Russian... It wasn't meeting their standard.
Yeah. So they took it back in house for whatever reasons they've had. We can all speculate on what we think it could be or couldn't be, but either way, they brought it in house. Obviously, they've managed to carry on with the work that was already done and get to a position where they're able to release it this year, which is good. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to jumping into it myself, and hopefully over the holidays when we have a bit of a break, I can hopefully get a couple of other games out the way and dive back into The Witcher. I'm gonna have to start again though, because I can't remember for the life of me what actually happened all the way through. So we'll definitely have to restart that one. Sentinel, what about yourself? Did you play The Witcher? Are you going to be jumping into the new one?
I have played The Witcher 3. I played it for a few hours actually, and probably about 4 hours. And it was just one of those games that I knew it was a good game, very high quality, but I just couldn't get into. It's kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2. Great game, phenomenal in scope and quality, but I just couldn't really get into it. I am happy though for the people that love The Witcher 3 because it has a huge following. And I think that this update is a great move by CDPR, really giving their loyal fan base a lot more to enjoy regarding The Witcher 3. And especially it's kind of laying the groundwork for Witcher 4 that's in the works, obviously. We don't really know when it's coming out or any of that stuff. Maybe they'll reveal that at the Game Awards or show a teaser trailer or something. But I think The Witcher 3, all this new content, all these upgrades for current generation consoles, it's a great move by CDPR, and to really support the loyal Witcher 3 community.
No, that's brilliant. It's nice that they're doing this. It's nice that they're going back to The Witcher 3, because I also believe, aren't they remastering or remaking The Witcher 1, I think? Yeah. They said they're going back to do that, so that'd be interesting to see. But yeah, it's nice that they are doing The Witcher 3. I know that they're working on the new Witchers. They've got this, timeline ahead that they're doing, whatever it is that they said they're doing. Is it like a 5-year timeline? I was a bit wasn't 100% sure what the plan was. Was it they're going to release the new Witcher, then after that, within 5 years, then they're going to release the next one, or is it they're going to release all the ones that they've got planned over 5 years? I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I think it's the second part that you said, not to confirm it, but I think it's that they're planning to release it within a 5-year scope. That's kind of like what they put out there. But I just want to add this, right? I think that this is a great turnaround for CD Projekt Red, and one that they needed, because their stock took a hit with, and I'm not talking about like literal stock market. I'm talking about like them as a company in the eyes of gamers took a big hit with releasing Cyberpunk though in the conditions that it did, and this is a great turnaround for them. This is them basically a love letter to their fans and to basically anyone in gaming saying, hey, we know we kind of, shit the bed here. Here's our way to make it up. We made Cyberpunk the way that we really, to the best. We released this game, we tweaked it, we've upgraded it so that it's performing to its best capacity. Not only that, but we're also going to take a game that we know is beloved by the community, and we're going to make it even better. So this is definitely the way you do it. Kudos to CD Projekt Red, and I mean, they deserve it, man. They deserve a lot of credit for that.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think they're building that redemption back up now after obviously how Cyberpunk launched. I think it hit a lot of their credibility and stuff, but they're bringing it back around. They're improving it. I've not gone back to Cyberpunk 2077, but I hear now it's a brilliant game. It plays well, even better than it ever did, and they've got more content to come. So I do think, how are they splitting themselves up? Because CD Projekt Red, obviously, they're not a huge developer, as in they've got thousands and thousands of staff. So you're splitting people up between, obviously, working on the update for The Witcher 3, working on the remake for The Witcher 1, doing the expansions for Cyberpunk 2077, as well as working on the new Witchers. I do start to think, are they spreading themselves a little bit thin? Are we going to see game delays because they don't want to release a game too early and have a repeat of Cyberpunk? It'll be interesting to see, but I do look forward to what they're doing. I'm looking forward to playing in December on the Witcher 3 patch. Whether I get through the whole game, I don't know, but I've kind of gone on one. Oh, sorry, Luke Steele's just confirmed in the chat. Witcher 1 is a remake, is another studio, right? Okay, sorry, I thought it was an in-house thing, so apologies for that. But so that is actually being developed by another studio. If anyone knows the name of it, just let us know, and I can let others know. Let's just do another quick shout out in chat, because I think we've had a few more join us since. Luke Steele, good evening. Stubbs Gaming, good evening. Fimber, good evening. And Muppet, I wasn't sure if I missed you or not. We've lost John Wolf. Hopefully he shall pop back any minute. Obviously, he did let us know in advance that he's... obviously, with it being Thanksgiving in America, things are a little bit different. But we'll see how things go. He's here. He's back again. There we go, John. You're back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. You're in. You're back in. Not a problem. And again, just to announce to everyone in the chat, in case anyone missed it, we are giving away a copy of Horizon Forbidden West today. All you have to do me in a chance to win it is... comment in chat, make sure you subscribed. I will do a Wheel of Fortune spin towards the end of the show, and I will pick a winner, announce it on the show proof on Twitter, so people can see that obviously it was fairly picked. I shall share that, and then I will DM you. All you got to do is show me proof that you have subscribed, and I will send you that code. But right, other than that, let's move on to the next topic of this evening. Scalper bots slowly starting to lose interest in PlayStation 5. And this comes from VGC over Video Games Chronicle by Chris Scullion. Scalper bots are gradually starting to lose interest in the PlayStation 5, a report by bot detection specialist has suggested. Nek Aksia, I could pronounce that wrong, so I do apologize, has published its latest quarterly index on the top 5 products targeted by scalper bots, this time covering the third quarter in 2022. For the first time since it was released, the PlayStation 5 no longer appears among the list of the top 3 positions. However, it still sits at number 4, suggesting it remains an important target for bots, even though its value is slightly slipping. Scalper bots are designed to find products as soon as they are added to a website, and then they buy them quicker than a human is able to, which I think we've all experienced at some point down the line, allowing a scalper to easily acquire stock so they can resell at a higher price. According to NetAsia's chart, the top 5 items targeted by Scalper Box between July and September 2022 are as follows: Adidas Yeezy Slide Bone, Nike Dunk Low Panda, Panini Donruss Optic Football Trading Cards. I have no idea what that is. Number 4, the PlayStation 5. And at place 5, Jordan 1 Retro Low OG UNCs. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is because PlayStation 5s are now more in the wild? You can kind of get them a bit more regular now. I do know you can over here in the UK. I don't know what it quite is in America, or is this just like a natural progression of what would happen because we're now 2 years into the life cycle of the consoles?
Yeah.
Sentinel, I'll come to you first. What do you think?
I think it is because you're seeing more PlayStation 5s out there. I mean, these scalper bots are still picking them up, but I mean, you have Sony bundling these. You got them bundling God of War with these PS5s, but you also have them bundling them with a certain type of TV. I remember someone on Twitter posted. I don't remember if it's LG, but I do know that there was a type of TV that these PlayStations were actually getting bundled with. I think Sony's really trying to meet the demand as much as they can. And it's because the more consoles out there, the more software they can sell, because they want games that are not coming to PC day one, like God of War. They want them, they want God of War Ragnarok to sell a lot of copies, but unfortunately you can't sell a lot of copies on a PS5 if you don't have a PS5. But that's also why they went with allowing some of these games that were supposed to be truly next gen to also be PlayStation 4 games. So they want to leave last generation behind as soon as possible. And really the only way you can do that is by creating more consoles, so you're not leaving tons of gamers behind. And PlayStation doesn't want to do that. They want all those PS4 owners, they want them to own PS5s. But if those consoles are not available, then obviously those people can't buy the consoles. And I think them pumping out more of these, as you get more PlayStation 5s out in the wild, of course, the demand is going to start to go down a little bit, which is going to push it down as far as these scalper bots are concerned. Because the demand is still up there, but it's nowhere near as high as it was like a year ago when almost nobody could find a PlayStation 5 in the wild.
Yeah. I tend to think, I wonder as well with, originally, when obviously PlayStation 5 was announced, it was, we believe in generations, we're moving on to the next generation. And then obviously with all the pandemic, that's kind of changed the trajectory of all video game companies, film, TV, music, everything was affected. And I think they realized that there's no way they would be able to meet the demand of the PlayStation 5 and be able to leave the PlayStation 4 behind, which I do think is a good thing, especially for that first year, maybe a year and a half, being able to, have games that are cross-gen. And I do wonder if that plays a part while, some people are thinking, well, there's no huge demand to have a PlayStation 5 because there's only a handful of games that are actually PS5 only. I can pretty much play all the top games on my PlayStation 4 anyway, so why bother getting a PlayStation 5 yet? So I'm wondering if it's also, let's say, that demand that people aren't as bothered finding that console.
Yeah, and PlayStation knew that people, because the PlayStation 4 Pro is still a pretty, impressive system, and they knew if people weren't going to get PS5s, that they were just going to go with the PS4 Pro. And so, I think it was last year that Sony stopped production of the PlayStation 4 altogether, so they don't make them anymore. And I think part of that is to drive people to the PS5.
Yeah, which I think we're going to see more and more of. I think we're going to see. You look at these third-party developers now; they're not really games that are coming out in the future next year and onwards are all sort of aiming for the PS5, the Xbox Series X and S. They're not really touching the Xbox One or the PS4, and I think it's just to try and give more and more people that push to get onto the new console, move over. It's time we leave the old gen behind, because obviously we're not going to get the full potential of what these consoles can do until they're just making the games purely for them. I have noticed in God of War Ragnarok, you can sort of tell how it's kind of tethered with the PlayStation 4 version, because you're going through scenes where you've got to climb through this gap or go between a wall, and it goes so slow, and it's like, that's clearly a loading screen for loading the next area. But had this been fully optimized and built ground up for the PlayStation 5, you wouldn't have had that. It would have been something different. But because the PlayStation 4 has it, so they're not rewriting different parts of the game for that, they've just kept that in. And you're starting to see these games, both consoles, companies talk how good, these next gen consoles, how fast they are. But when you're more and more tethered to the previous gen, because you don't want to make a different game version for it, you can kind of see where it is starting to hold things back, and we do need that full potential to push forward.
Definitely.
John Wolf, what do you think?
Just to piggyback, I'll answer your question a little bit of what the actual topic is, but just to answer kind of what you said right now. Look, I've had a little controversial view on this whole games coming out for both PS4 and Xbox and PS5 and etc. I have yet to see a game.
Oh, we've lost you there, John Wolf. We've lost you.
Oh, is that better, guys? Sorry about that. Again, guys, I apologize. I'm kind of doing this away from my setup, so I apologize about that.
We've got you back.
Is that better?
That's better. We got you back.
So, the thing is that for the average gamer, right? Because I talk to a lot of people within my workspace that they're gamers. They're not into it like I am. That I'm here on a podcast. I love talking about this. I can talk about gaming 24/7, but they still play games, right? So when a big game like God of War releases, they're on it 100%. But the thing is that I've had some individuals tell me, hey, is that game releasing on PS4, or do I need to get a PS5 for it? And as soon as I tell them, no, it's coming out for PS4, they're like, okay, I'll just keep waiting for the PS5. Because to the average gamer, and this is something that I think that, us hardcore need to understand, if the game is playable on their system, they really don't care about all the bells and whistles. They don't care that double the frame rate. They don't care that the resolution is a little bit higher. All they care about is, does it play on the current system that I own, and I just have to spend $65. You know what I'm saying? That's really what they care about. So I think that, when I agree with what you said 100% for all, we got to call a spade. And this is not a knock on the game. The game, I have not beat it yet. I'm not even halfway through. But from what I've played, it's just as good. And if not, it'll probably exceed God of War 2018. So this is not a but at the same time, I am logical enough to explain and to say that what I'm seeing on my screen is about what I got on my PlayStation 4 experience. Okay. Not a knock on the game. It's an incredible achievement. Sold 5 million copies. Kudos to Sony Santa Monica and Sony for that. But again, we got to call a spade, right? So in saying all of that, the reason that I mentioned that, and I'm piggybacking off what you said, is because I don't think that as much as we see on Twitter and all that good stuff, I really don't think that there's such a big push that people have, like, oh, I got to get a PS5 right now, even though it's been sold out. And I think that the reason that we've seen that these things are not sitting on store shelves is because Sony has not been able to make enough of them because of the shortages and etc. and stuff like that, right? But I do think that we're getting to the point now where I'm starting to see people post a couple of PlayStation sitting on a store shelf. I'm starting to see pictures of an Xbox Series X sitting there. So I think that we're slowly getting there. The thing is about your direct topic about the scalpers. I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think honestly what happened is that Sony themselves cut into that scalper market with the price increase. Now So now what's happening is that people now see, hey, wait a minute, I can buy the console directly. That's becoming more available, and it comes with a game. Yeah, I'm gonna be paying a little bit more to Sony, but at least I'm getting something out of it. I'm not just giving the money to a scalper or to someone selling it on Craigslist or eBay or whatever. So I think that the market has kind of shifted where Sony kind of disrupted that scalper market with their own little price increase, and they're benefiting from it, right? And I think that consumers, to a certain extent, when the game is bundled, when there is a game bundled, I think that are winning there. Now I heavily scrutinized PlayStation when they increased the prices. And I still think it was a weird call, unusual. I understand why they did it. It's a company. I understand how business works, but at the same time, it was kind of weird at the time. But now, as you see things play out, right, and the demand is still there, as a business, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying as a business, I understand why they did it, and it looks like it's paying dividends for them. And yeah, I think that they themselves kind of disrupted this whole thing, and I also think that they're keeping up with they're for the most part. I think that they're able to keep up with demand now more than than in years past.
Yeah, no, it's a good
Definitely
point.
agree.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, maybe that having that price increase has actually affected the scalpers. I didn't actually think of that side of it.
I wonder if the whole reason for the price increase was to fight against the scalpers.
It's a possibility.
Well, I think that it's a little bit. I think that plays a portion in there. I think that, look, and again, I'm not in favor of this. I'm not saying that I agree with it, because from day one I haven't agreed with it. I'm the consumer. I don't want to pay more. So I'm never going to be okay with price increases. But looking at the landscape, right? And now I'm taking off my consumer hat, and I'm looking at it as Sony as the business. As much as I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say, okay, you know what? If people are willing to spend up to $200, $300 more for our system, let's charge them $50 more, and that way it kind of provides the scalpers to and they'll move on, and then people that really want the system, that are gonna invest in our ecosystem, spend money on the PlayStation Store, buy our games. That's the consumer that we want buying this thing, right? So hey, if we can take advantage and charge them a little bit more, what's the
and that's
way
it.
that they kind of thought about this?
That's it. And when you've got people that are willing to pay the prices for it, and clearly it's worked, like you say, I don't agree with the price increase, especially in today's climate, inflation, cost of living and everything. And we're right close to the holidays and they put the price up. It's, to me, it's a shitty move, if I'm honest. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. I think it's taking advantage of people knowing that there are going to be kids who are asking the parents for PlayStation 5s for Christmas, as well as Xboxes and all the other consoles. And PlayStation are the only one that have actually raised the price. And parents are going to have to pay that more money to get it, but they're going to sell, and that's just it. They are going to sell, they are going to make the money, and it's just the way things go, But I would also say, and I also agree, that there still isn't really a call, unless you want the better frame rates, the SSD, the faster loading times. There's not really a big pull to get the PlayStation 5. I was lucky. I got one because my wife got me one as a gift. So, I'm quite lucky in that regards. But if it was me just choosing if I was going to buy it myself, I'd probably have held off. I'll probably kept the PlayStation 4 going for longer, because it's like there's nothing really that's not coming to both platforms. Is like literally a handful of games, but it'll be interesting to see as we go into 2023, as more and more things start to improve, as this chip shortage, I wouldn't say it's going to come to an end, but that pressure's probably going to ease up a little bit as we get into mid-year. But we'll see what happens. Right, let's move on to the next topic. Again, sticking with the PlayStation 5. Sony and Honda could include PlayStation 5 consoles in electric cars. This comes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. As I said on many shows, you'll probably see that I kind of favour VGC for the news articles because they kind of have good ones. Oh, hang on one sec. We're being invaded by sex bots, so let's get rid of them before we do anything else. There we go. They're gone. Thank you for visiting. So as I said, so VGC over by Tom Ivan. A new joint venture from Sony and Honda could see the pair release electric cars featuring built-in PlayStation 5 hardware. The heads of Sony, Honda Mobility, which was established in September, told the Financial Times they plan to use music, movies, and gaming to build electric cars built around a premium entertainment experience. Sony has content, services, and entertainment technologies that move people. We're adapting these assets to mobility, and this is for our strength against Tesla. Didn't realize that, said President Izumi Kawawashi. Again, I do apologize for butchering the hell out of that name. So what do we think? Do we think this is something that's actually going to become a reality? Because, we see these sort of business deals go down in all different aspects, in gaming, in all different entertainment things. And sometimes they never really come to light because it works out way too expensive, or companies can't agree on the sort of technology to be involved. Is it something you would like to see an electric car, John Wolf?
It's interesting, right? So what I like to see game consoles integrated into cars, period, in general. I mean, why not, right? If they're going to be included in a premium package when you're purchasing a car, and it becomes a standard, just like a GPS system or CD back in the day, or those DVD players, Blu-ray players that used to go down so that your kids can stay entertained in a long trip and stuff. Sure, by all means. The only thing is that I do find this interesting because I haven't heard this before. Topic, so it's definitely new on my radar, but I think it's an interesting venture. I enjoy this the box, right? I think that
we're losing you again, John.
Oh,
no, we can't hear you, mate. We've lost you. You've gone.
Hold on. Am I back?
Oh, there we go. There we go. We can hear you. Sorry, mate. We missed that. Say again.
It's okay. Can you guys hear me good now?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're going in and out just a little bit, but we can hear you.
Yeah.
I'll do my best here, guys. So I really do think that it's interesting, as I was saying, because this is thinking outside the box for Sony, and I like and I appreciate things like this, because anytime that you can kind of expand your wings and be included in all aspects of your consumer's life, I think it's definitely a good move. Like I said, one day we might live in a world where it's become a standard that all vehicles have either a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a Nintendo built in. So as a gamer, this excites me, honestly. I see a lot of potential with this, and I do think it's a good move for Sony, especially knowing Sony's background in hardware and kind of how that company is wired. I think that this is definitely a good move, and for them to be leading the charge here, it fits in their DNA.
Yeah. And also, I suppose it's like that, so Sony, like Xbox have been doing and other companies have been doing. They're trying to branch out. They're trying to get into, different areas in entertainment and gaming, trying to, be able to go into different mediums. Obviously, we're starting to see more dropping in PC. They're looking at, they've bought mobile markets and stuff like that. They're looking at getting into more live service games, and they've bought companies to developers to help them with that. So, and obviously the cloud streaming as well. They're trying to get more into the cloud. And I suppose this is probably a natural step. For us, like for me, maybe it's a bit early at the moment, a bit too soon at this time. I think it's something that, give it in 5-10 years time, it will be a normal thing having a games console hardware built into your car. And I do think it is going to be something we're going to see more and more of, or even if it's like say more like along the lines of a streaming device. So yeah, you can play PlayStation games in your car, but instead of it being a PlayStation 5 console somewhere slotted in, maybe where the battery goes because the console is fairly big. Maybe they're going to come up with some sort of streaming device where it's smaller, compact, and you're using more of that cloud technology as they, progress that in the future. But no, I'm excited to see that. Sentinel, what about yourself? Are you going to buy an electric car with a PlayStation built in?
No, not me personally. I do think they're going to need a sunroof though, because that PlayStation 5 is big as hell.
You're not wrong.
So I couldn't help myself.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's a big console. To be fair, I'm not a fan that if I want it standing up, I have to fit the stand, take the screw out the bottom, screw it into the bottom to stand it up. You've got to make sure it's just right. And if you lay it on its side, you have to have the stand just right on the cymbals. Otherwise, it'll just rock to one side. Yeah, but I do like it. I enjoy the PlayStation 5. I don't like the look of it. I've never liked the look of it from when I've seen it. It's just the fact that it's the dual sense for me. It's the dual sense that does it for me.
As big as the PS5 is, I hope that the PS6 is not a 2-man lift.
You got to think that at some point in this generation, they're either gonna, because I mean, if you know Sony's like MO, they're gonna definitely find a way to slim it down, make it look sexy, and I do think that eventually we are gonna get there. Because if you look at how the PS3 released the George Foreman grill, right, as it's known, when the next iteration came out, it was way slimmer, and even the material was different and all that good stuff. So I can definitely see that incoming in the next probably 2 years, a redesign and all that good stuff. The thing about this is that the interesting from the gaming industry landscape, how we like to analyze things, it's interesting how you're seeing the shift from all of these companies, even Nintendo to a certain extent, right? Because they have kind of dived in on mobile and they've had great success. Is that I think that the formula that they have come up with is that we need to have the ability to get as many people hands-on with our system games as possible. So I think that you're starting to see them get creative and say, you know what? Almost a lot of people need cars, right? Almost, everybody to a certain extent needs a car. So let's give them the ability to invest in our ecosystem with their car. So I think that in the future, you're going to see more and more of this stuff from companies just thinking outside of the box and saying, how can we reach that consumer? And you're going to start seeing it in ways that we never thought about.
Yeah, exactly. I do think to myself, especially now on the mid-gen refresh, making the console smaller and slimmer. I keep thinking, are they actually going to do one though? Are we going to have a mid-gen refresh? Because we're 2 years into this generation only.
I think they're going to piss a lot of people off if they do that.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like there's still the consoles as they are haven't been used to the full potential as of yet. People are still trying to get hold of them. I know it's getting a bit easier in some places, but I can't see a mid-gen refresh. I
think I can, but it's not necessarily that they're going to make them more powerful. I think improving the cooling systems and increasing the amount of solid state drive space that you have right out of the box. I think those are the two most important things they really need to focus on, because right now you have solid state drive prices that are completely ridiculous. You got the Series S that has the smallest solid state drive, and then of course you got PS5 and you got the Series X out of the box. I think it's supposed to be one terabyte of space.
1 terabyte, and it's really like 820 something.
Yeah, after the operating system.
825. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's like if they're going to do a mid-gen refresh, they need to, two terabytes needs to be the bottom, or 3 or 4. That in my opinion, that's a mid-gen refresh that they should focus on.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I do think that these companies see whenever they launch a refreshed console, it's kind of like a new launch for them, right? So I can kind of see if they are going to do it, it's going to be in a time where they I don't want to say rebranding themselves, but kind of like saying, hey, introducing the new PlayStation 5, to give that sense of life again into the system, right? So I definitely, and again, I'm only going by history, right? I can only go by history because obviously we can't predict the future, but it is Sony's MO to release a revised system, as soon as every console generation they've done it. They have never failed. So I totally expect one, and I think that just a lot of people will be excited about it because again, the PS5 from one of the knocks that you have heard the last 2 years is that why is this thing so big? You know what I mean? So them slimming it down, I think it'll appease their fan base, and I think that a lot of people will get excited about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It'd be interesting to see if they do, because obviously, from the next topic that we're going to go into in a minute of when the earliest they're going to be looking at the next gen consoles. Maybe see some. I'd probably say something more from the PlayStation side than the Xbox side. I like the look of the Series X. I think it looks perfect to me. It's absolutely brilliant. The PS5, it gives off some heat, I must admit. While playing God of War Ragnarok, I have noticed that the back of the console gets really, really hot as you play that game and getting more intense scenes and things. So it's definitely something they need to work on. And probably with that, I think we spoke about it last week or week before, that they are actually looking at bringing out another version of the PS5 where it's got the detachable disk drive, sorry. So you could buy it all digital, which obviously it's going to be I'm assuming it's going to be a smaller console, or you can buy the hard disk drive separate, so you can just slot it in. So maybe that's what they're sort of looking at in the next year or two, maybe. But as from with like power wise, like say, I don't think they're going to do anything power wise. I do agree with that. I think it's just going to be pretty much what it is now. It's just going to be cheaper, because it's going to be made cheaper and it's going to look a lot better.
I think if they're doing a detachable disk drive, though, they really need to test it out before they ever release it to gamers. And of course, the reason being is because PlayStation doesn't have the best track record from a technical standpoint. Now, of course, with the PlayStation 4 when it first released, I don't know if either of you had issues with the ejection button, but I got a PS4 launch version, and the ejection button was always ejecting discs while I was playing, and that is so aggravating. I had to send it back twice to get it fixed. Then, of course, with the PlayStation 4 Pro, there were numerous issues with the cooling because of how powerful the system is. I had to send mine in 3 times just to have new thermal paste and all that stuff applied because it was sounding like a jet engine. So, it's like Xbox has always been pretty sound technically. With their consoles, with the cooling setup, they got it figured out. So if they are releasing a PlayStation 5 with a detachable disk drive, hard drive, anything detachable, they need to test the hell out of it and find all these issues and find out how they're going to fix these issues before it ever launches. Because as of right now, the PlayStation 5, it had the 3 different fans that people now know about. And they don't need that type of negative press. They want to come out and they want this thing to be polished and good to go right out the door if they're going to see tremendous success with it.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from all those things, and I'll just add this last little bit so that we can change topics. But I do think that, dude, that's really shitty luck you've had. owning as many Sony consoles and that I have owned in my lifetime, I'm always the guy that upgrades, right? As soon as Xbox or PlayStation now releases an updated version, dude, I'll be the first one to trade in my console to get the newest one, because that's just the way I am, right? I get excited for this industry, and I like to engage and and test out the system, and okay, this is a newer system. I like to have it as part of my setup and stuff like that. So I haven't really run into that aspect of bad luck with Sony consoles. But the one thing that I will tell you that's interesting about specifically this version of the PlayStation 5 that exists today is that from the beginning there was a report that came out that it was having high failure rates, right? So I think that this goes for them redesigning the console, trying to find that sweet spot where they can cut as much cost as possible, make it profitable, but still have the machine be reliable. So I agree with you, and to your credit, I would think that it's in Sony's best interest to make sure that once they release a redesign or a disk drive or whatever, that they have taken it to the limit. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that they don't have a faulty hardware. Because the last thing we all need as gamers, and Sony needs, is a red ring situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Can't disagree with that. God, we don't want to go back to the 360 days, do we? Where having to wrap a towel around your console, sit it in a cupboard for an hour, and all that malarkey.
Well, to Sony's credit, though, with the ejection button, you remember with the PS4 Slim that they released later, they figured out what the issue was pretty much right away, and they were able to fix it with the redesign. With the 360 Red Ring of Death, they were sending them back, and they couldn't even figure out what the problem was.
Yeah, that's true.
So at least PlayStation could figure it out.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think it's hard because obviously, especially when you're dealing with hardware being made on mass production and stuff, you are going to have so many that aren't going to work right. You know, these designs, when they've put them together for the first time, it's like, yeah, it works brilliantly. But then when you're getting them out there and they're being tested, pushed to like some of the limits, and then they realise maybe this isn't as good as we thought, or maybe if we had only put this in, this would have saved us a few pence, per console. And then, it's these sort of things where they just keep making little changes. It is strange that, like, say, PlayStation 5 are on I think they're on the 4th iteration now, I think, or is it the 3rd? I've got the second one. I've got the second iteration of console. But
I think that they're on their 3rd, because I remember watching a video from Austin Evans not too long ago that he's done kind of like breakdowns on this thing. He's the one that I've seen that has been the most invested. I was lucky to be able to pre-order a disc-less version on day one, and I have version 1. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Look, I use my PlayStation only to play those fantastic, great Sony exclusives, and I have not had any issues. So I guess I don't know if I've been lucky or what, but I haven't seen no issues of overheating. You know how, like, for example, people were playing games and it would lock up on them and freeze and all that good stuff. I haven't had not even one of those issues. So I don't know if I've been lucky or what.
Yeah, no, I've not had any of them issues. It's just it was only yesterday that I noticed I'd come off playing God of War, and I've got the PlayStation Pulse headset, so I have the dongle plugged into the back of one of the USBs in the console, and I was doing something on the PC, so I thought, right, because I'm going to attach the headset to the PC, I'll just reach around the back to get that, and as I put my arm around the back, the actual dongle itself was hot. So it was giving off a fair bit of heat, and I'm keeping an eye on it. Console's not loud, nothing's cutting out, nothing's freezing. It's just giving off a lot of heat, and I'm not 100% sure why. I'm thinking, it's God of War's the first game it's done with? Is it something to do with the way the game runs on the PlayStation 5? I don't know. It could be just there might be something wrong with my console, but I'm keeping an eye on it anyway to see what happens. But speaking of the consoles, though, again from Tom Ivan over at VGC, Xbox and PlayStation don't expect to launch new consoles until at least 2028, documents can reveal. Microsoft and Sony don't expect to launch next-gen consoles until 2028 at the earliest, newly published documents have suggested. Both companies discussed potential launch timing for new consoles in statements published on Market Authority's ongoing investigation, which is the CMA going into the Activision Blizzard deal. The CMA has expressed concerns about the impact of the $68.7 billion deal, which could have PlayStation's could have on PlayStation's ability to compete, given the merger. The impact is likely to be felt especially at the launch of the next generation of consoles, where gamers make fresh decisions about which console to buy according to the regulator. Sony and Microsoft both launched their current gen consoles, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S respectively, in November 2020. In response to CMA's concerns, Microsoft said the next generation of consoles is many years away and claimed any impact from Activision deal is highly speculative. So with that in mind, obviously, if let's just say this deal does go through and that Microsoft do acquire ABK, and these consoles coming out in 2028, let's just say that is the date they're coming out. Do we see this having an effect, or do we think we're going to see these consoles even later? With you look at the current situation we're in now. We're 2 years into this generation. If there's going to be a mid-gen refresh going off 2028, do we think we're going to see these consoles 2028, or do we think we could see it push further down the line to have a mid-gen refresh? John Wolf, come to you first. What do you think, my friend?
I would think that honestly, this pandemic that we were all part of, it delayed things by at least 2 years easily, right? So I would think that whatever planned, they needed to add 2 years to that, right? And that's across probably all industries, just not the gaming industry. So I definitely think that the longer time goes, the better it is for us as consumers, because obviously we're not forced to buy a new box when we just bought one. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we got a long way to go, BMG and Sentinel. As I said earlier, I myself, I haven't yet seen a game where I'm like, man, it's only possible on the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when we start seeing a good cadence of release of Series X and PS5 and the Series S, I'm gonna be on Dream Street, because that's when we're really fully utilizing these consoles to its full potential. And we're not even there yet. We're not even scratching the surface. So I think that the longer time that these companies wait, the better for us. But at the same time, I understand how the industry works, and new hardware is always exciting, and it boosts sales, and things get exciting again. It shakes things up. So I think that as long as this generation doesn't carry on like it kind of was on the 360 PS3 generation, where towards the tail end of it, people were really hardware, right? And the same thing that you're seeing with the Switch. The Switch, you're seeing a lot of talk is, man, if only Nintendo had more powerful hardware, they could their games, and really give us, those frame rates and those things that hardcore gamers are looking for. I just think that we'll be clamoring for new hardware when we get to that point, right? But we're not scratching the surface, and the longer that we have to wait, I think that it's better for us as consumers.
Sorry, I just had to move that. I've got hailstone hitting my window.
Okay.
Dear. But do you think, obviously, let's just say 2028, we are going to see these new consoles. Do you think, if hypothetically the ABK deal does go through, do you think that is going to sway more people onto the Xbox side, or do you think, because obviously Phil Spencer's come out and he said, look, wherever there's going to be a PlayStation, Call of Duty is going to be in PlayStation. Don't worry about it. It's going to be there. It's never going to be taken off. It's always going to be there. Do you think that will sway more of the Sony fan base to Xbox for Call of Duty, or do you think we're not going to see much change at all? Do you think we're going to see about where we're at now?
Gotcha. Okay. So I think that if Xbox can successfully close this deal and Call of Duty is part of Game Pass, I think that little by little, as this generation carries on, obviously the Call of Duty player is going to help make, right? They're going to be like, okay, we're heavily invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. Do we stay here or do we go where Call of Duty is the home of Call of Duty? Okay, because Xbox is going to do everything in their power to let everybody know that Call of Duty is their home is Xbox. So now, if Xbox starts doing those tactics, right, that PlayStation uses to their advantage, which is, hey, you want to play the beta a week or two early, it's available on Xbox first. You better believe that that's going to shift over the Call of Duty player. Now, is that going to equate to 20%, 30%? I don't know that. But I would think, right, as a Call of Duty player myself, I would think that, hey, you know what? If I could play the game, the beta, a week earlier, I want to try out that beta before anybody else. So if I have to get it on Xbox, I'll get it on Xbox first. And I would think that a huge player base of Call of Duty would what I'm trying to say is that Xbox would give them something to think about.
Yeah, no, that's true. So it's good points. Sentinel, to you as well. Do you think, with consoles coming out in 2028, is that realistic? Do we think they could push that further down the line? Say that they can push this mid-gen refresh to, say, what, we're 2022 now? Say push the mid-gen refresh to 2024. Do you think they could then maybe extend the hardware to maybe 2029, 2030, or do we think we're going to hit that 2028?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what John Wolf said about the whole pandemic thing, delaying it for 2 years. I could see that because, of course, they didn't plan on having this, and as far as they were concerned prior, when they're planning all this stuff out, they may have had 2027, 2028 kind of figured when they're going to hit the end of this generation. But that's based on how many units they can sell and having people go over to the next generation rather than having like PS4 and PS5, PS4 and PS5 both. They just wanted PS5 games. So obviously they had it planned where 2027, they're probably going to start advertising heavily for it. And 2028 is when it's going to launch. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic and because they're still putting their PS5 games on PS4, again, I agree with that 2-year delay. That sounds extremely realistic, especially from a business standpoint, because they need people to invest in the current system so that they can really show what the PS5 can do, from those games. So they don't have to make a game for the PS4 and just increase some stuff for the PS5. They can actually build a game for the PS5 only, and they can fully optimize it. And it's funny we brought up the PlayStation 3. One of the best looking games on the PlayStation 3 came at the end of its life cycle, The Last of Us Part 1. And on the PlayStation 3, it looked phenomenal. People had never seen anything like it. And of course, Naughty Dog is phenomenal with what they do. But they really pushed the console as far as they could. But that was at the end of the life cycle. And because they're still making PS4 games, it's PS4 games essentially, but it's upgraded to the PS5. Because they're having to do that, you have these studios that would be getting ready to bring a game with that level of graphical fidelity and that much amazing content in it. They're still having to water those down, so they're going to need that extra 2 years to really show what the PlayStation 5 can do.
Yeah, no, agreed. That makes sense. And say we're coming into this next generation when we get there, whatever year that's going to be. I'll go opposite with you, Sentinel. Let's say the deal doesn't go through and it drops, and Sony can carry on with their, getting their exclusive content and things. Do you think that could potentially pull Xbox players over to the PlayStation, especially if, let's just say, PlayStation managed to strike a deal and get it into their subscription service, even if it's, say, 6 months down the line, do we think you could end up getting people moving over from the Xbox ecosystem onto the PlayStation system
Well,
for the next generation?
I think there's a group of people that are primarily Xbox gamers, but they also own PlayStations. And, you know, the same goes true. They're primarily PlayStation, but they also own an Xbox. Like myself, you know, I last generation when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 came out, you know, I owned a PS4 Pro and I owned an Xbox One X. And, you know, they had exclusive content, of course, for the PlayStation. And that's where I bought it, you know. So it wasn't necessarily that I left Xbox. It's just that I already owned both. And I went, you know, with the PlayStation version instead. Now, if I was Xbox only, would Call of Duty make me leave the brand to go to PlayStation? I mean, if you're just buying one system, you know, and you're buying it for Call of Duty or you're buying it for FIFA or whatever, I don't really think, because if you're having to buy a $500 system for one game or one franchise, you're going to make sure that you look beforehand which franchise has the better support. So I think if I was going into it buying a current generation console and I was trying to figure out which one had better Call of Duty content, that may help me decide. But if I was already an Xbox gamer and they had better Call of Duty content on PlayStation, I'm not going to buy another $500 console for that.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, because obviously it always comes every time there's a new generation. A lot of people tend to shift one way or the other. On the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 generation, I went PlayStation 4. Towards the end of the generation, I then picked up an Xbox One, and then going into this generation, the current gen, I went with Xbox Series X as a start. And my main reason for going that way is because I have most of my friends, the people I've met on here in this community and online, most are on Xbox, and that's primarily where I play. But obviously, I've got the PlayStation 5. I've got a few friends on there, more like people that live local to where I am. But I mainly play it for that single player, you know, story-driven narrative game. So, you know, I do enjoy it more for that. But it's again, it all comes down to that. Everyone's got to play what you play, enjoy where you want to play your games, and
definitely.
Sorry.
I think, BMG, that it's a loaded question, right? Because the thing is that what Microsoft is going to I would think, right, strategically, what they want to accomplish with this deal is bring brand awareness to Xbox, right? And like I'm saying, if they can marry Call of Duty to be synonymous with Xbox, you would think that gradually over time, players would recognize, hey, if I'm going to play Call of Duty, I'm going to do it on an Xbox. The same way that during last generation, everything that Sony did strategically, tipping my hat to them, to make it seem as if Destiny was a PlayStation exclusive. Everyone you would talk to, for the most part, thought that was a PlayStation game. I would think that if Xbox is smart and they do what they need to do, where automatically when you say Call of Duty, you're thinking, oh, that's an Xbox game, right? That's how they would, I would think, want to benefit and leverage from this ABK deal, alongside with all the other perks.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said, because obviously Call of Duty, you know, when like the 360 days, it was always Xbox. Was it, if I remember rightly, the original Call of Duty on Xbox 360 was Xbox exclusive? And it was always, everything was Xbox, and then, you know, PlayStation managed to get the deal round for it, and then everyone just sees Call of Duty as mainly, a lot of people look at it as not exclusive, but anything you want other than the base game, you go to PlayStation for. So, you know, hats off to them, like say, for that, for like the marketing and the way they've gone about it. Yeah, we don't own them, but the way we market it and the deals we have in place make people think they're mainly just a part of us than anywhere else. So, you know, your hats off to them for that. But yeah, no, it's good. Let's give another quick shout out in chat, because I think we've had a few people turn up since. I think I did shout out Finbear, Muppet, Stubbs, Who else we had in there? Redders, good evening, sir. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. It's Timmy. Thank you for popping in. That's for Stubbs because he said I had to say it that way.
He's a good dude. Yeah, Timmy's a good dude. He always says hello in the chat. He's a good dude.
He is. He's awesome. He's awesome. Good evening, Scott. Good evening, Luke Steele. Great to see you. Good evening, Safu. Great to see you. Again, just another reminder for everyone that's just turned up and missed the announcement. We are giving away a copy of Horizon Forbidden West, the cross-gen copy for PS4, PS5. For you to win it, all you got to do is comment in chat. Make sure you subscribed. Towards the end of the show, I will do the spin the wheel of fortune, and it'll pick someone's name. And once that person that's won will DM on Twitter. All you got to do is show proof that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, and I will send you that code. But other than that, let's swiftly move on to the next topics. I'm looking at the time, and things have lasted a lot longer than I thought they would, and we've got. We never seem to get through all the topics, but we'll see how we go. Next one from Push Square by Liam Croft. Spider-Man Miles Morales has better PC launch than Sackboy and Uncharted. Spider-Man Miles Morales is currently the 10th best-selling game on Steam after a peak of more than 13,500 PC users played the game at any one time during its opening weekend. This marks a huge improvement on Sony's previous PC release, Sackboy Big Adventure, which could only pull in 610 players during its release. Oof, not good. And 3 weeks later, the game still hasn't pulled in more users than one time. The latest stats makes Miles Morales the third most popular PC release from Sony in 2022, behind God of War and Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. It just managed to beat Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection by a few thousand users. As of November 21st, Sony's PC ports have recorded the following highest concurrent number of players. God of War, 73,529 over 10 months. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, 66,436 over 3 months. Horizon Zero Dawn, 56,557 over 2 years. Days Gone, 27,450 over 2 years. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, 13,539 over 2 days. And Uncharted Legacy Thieves Collection, 10,851 over 29 days. So with that, obviously, I thought I'd bring up the Spider-Man Miles Morales because obviously I really enjoyed it. I had it as a PlayStation 5 game. It's not, doesn't demand a lot of your time. It's a game, you can complete in like 3 to 6 hours if you just mainline the story. There's a bit of side content, but it's quite a smaller open world linear story. But it's a good game. It's really good, and it's over a couple of days you could easily finish and be happy with it. And it just seems to come more and more games, obviously, that a first party with Sony releasing on PC. They just seem to be getting better and better as time goes on. I do believe currently they have said that the PlayStation first party games about every 12 months. Do you think that we're going to see that gap close? Are we going to get closer to that day and date in PC? Sentinel, I'll come to you first. What do you think?
I don't think they're gonna. I think PlayStation really wants to. I know they want to bring their games to PC because there's a bigger audience, of course, on PC. But I really feel like they want to resist that as much as possible, just because they want to at least give their gamers who are playing exclusively on PlayStation consoles, they want to give them a reason to continue to buy PlayStation consoles. And I know there's tons of people out there that say, "Oh, I'll just play this or that on PC," and they got a potato for a PC. But it feels like they want to, like the year. I think 12 months is as close as you're going to see any of these games really release on PC, because they want those to be on PlayStation consoles at least a year, and then then they can go to PC. And of course, they're going to do crazy numbers when they get to PC, but It just feels like I don't think they're going to do what Xbox is doing. I think they want to, 12 months is pretty much as early as they'll release it on PC. That's just that's my opinion of the situation.
Yeah, John Wolf, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of disagree with Sentinel on this one. And by the way, I love the messiness, the potato of a PC. I thought the Series S was a potato, man. Now it's the PCs. No, but just messing around, man. I do think that get into gym. Oh, are you losing me?
We lost you. You gone quiet again. We lost you. You there, John?
How about that?
No, we're still. No, still not clear, mate. Still can't hear you.
Okay. Give me a second here. I'm trying to kind of adjust my situation here. How about now?
There we go. We can hear you. That's better.
Okay, guys. So I without being able to go into Jim Ryan's brain and kind of see what he's thinking, right? I can only go by what he has said. And he in that interview earlier in the year, he specifically said that they want as many players as possible to play their games. The only way that they're going to be able to do that is to release the games on PC, right? So we've seen them do that. The shift has already started where they're picking select titles to release on PC after the fact that they've released them on their own console. I think that this is something that I've gone back and forth with a lot of people in the community about. I think that they are doing themselves a disservice by holding out. Now you'll ask me, John, but no, that's against that's against their business model. They want to sell the system so that you buy more games on their store and they get a bigger cut of you. I that's a good argument, but my counter argument to that is that look at like Sackboy, okay? Obviously, I would like to think, okay, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. It's just my opinion. I would like to think that a game like that, if it was releasing at the same time, it would have more hype. Okay, when you see a game like God of War Ragnarok release and sell 5 million units, in my brain, I have to automatically say, but what about if it released at the same time on PC? How much more would it have sold? And then you're gonna have some people that say, John, but that doesn't make any sense because all they can do is they can release it again in a year and get 5 million more sales. That's not a guarantee. By then, in my opinion, the title has slowed down. The hype levels are not there as they would be on day one. And I'll give you the perfect example because it happened to me this year. A game like Elden Ring. I wasn't planning on buying it. Okay, I fell for the FOMO. Why? Because of the hype. Because oh man, this game is the best. It's the greatest thing ever. Guess what, dude? As a gamer, I bought into the hype and I bought it. So they got my money. Where primarily I don't like Souls games. I would not have bought that title. But guess what? I fell for that FOMO, and I feel like PlayStation is cutting themselves short by not releasing on day one. Because man, I just have this strong suspicion that if God of War Ragnarok would have released day one on PC as well, with the hype that this game has had for the last year, God only knows the number of sales that they would have gotten for that title.
Yeah, completely agree. I always think they should do that. It should be day and date with PC because it's like it's not. I wouldn't say it's not taken away from the PlayStation audience because, like I say, you're going to have that core PlayStation fan base that will play console. I don't play games on PC. Like I say, my PC is literally a potato with dust holding it together. That's my PC for you. But I've always been a console gamer. Keyboard and mouse, it's too confusing for me. Controller in my hand, I can do that. So, like for me, I would get console regardless. But yeah, it should be. Let people play on PC as well. Do it day and day. Open them doors up to more people. I do understand that, yeah, we do it further down the line. It's then going to give us another boost in revenue. But it's not always the case because sometimes once a game's been and gone, because like I say, leaks pop up online on games all the time. People can't help themselves but spoil games or post thumbnails with spoiling a game, or they just can't help themselves. It's just human nature. But you have that day and day, you're going to have a big selection of the PC fan base because Steam, release it on Steam. Look how many users use Steam and would absolutely, fall over to have that. Luke Steele, who's in the chat, he's obviously he's got Xbox, he's got PlayStation 5, he's also got PC, just got a new rig. I'd probably think he would have probably gone PC, or even knowing Luke, he probably would have double dipped, got it on PlayStation 5 and got it on PC, because some people do that, because they want to see the fidelity that they can push it to and what, the limits they can push the game to. But yeah, I'm all for it being day and day. I'd love first party games day and day in their subscription service. To me, it would make it more worth it, but they're just not prepared to do that yet. They're not ready for that yet for whatever reason. Clearly, whatever numbers they're looking at says we're not doing that as of yet. But we'll see what happens in the future. I think that gap between PC and PlayStation release is just going to get shorter and shorter and shorter, and they'll go the same way as Xbox have gone, and they are going to end up being day and day. It's a matter of time, but it's a wait and see, and we'll see what happens. Right, let's. Sorry, go on, John.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry to derail again, but I think Sentinel does bring up a good point. That I think that's where they're at today. What I'm talking about is where I can kind of see them wanting to go, because again, just by what Jim has said and because of their push that they've done, they're releasing PC monitors, they're releasing PC headsets. So everything that they're saying and doing, their actions are leading me to believe that, hey, are they all in on PC, or are they headed that way?
Yeah, I think they're testing the waters right now. They're really thinking about it.
Is it Nix's? Is that the PC port developer that they bought? I think it was Nix's. They pretty much they work on porting PlayStation 5 games to PC. That is what they've got them for. So I think I think they acquired Blue Point as well, that generally does like remasters and remakes and stuff. So maybe they could combine the two studios or work together side by side to try and get this time gap between these games shorter. But maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's not so much, or we want to just another, go for the game further down the line. Maybe it's just they're struggling to find that balance of getting games ported quick enough. Maybe I don't know. Nix's is quite a new acquisition for them, so maybe it's something we're going to see improvement on as we go down the line. But yeah, definitely interesting. Right, obviously we are getting a bit. Running a bit short on time, so let's move on a bit quicker on this one, I think. Again, this is from Push Square by Liam Croft. Rumour: Star Wars Jedi Survivor at the Game Awards with release date. Another PlayStation 5 game seemingly ready to reveal its release date is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. According to Giant Bomb crew member Jeff Grubb, the reliable reporter posted on to his Hive account. That's obviously the equivalent to Twitter that a lot of people have gone to, that the game is planned to be at the Game Awards. That should confirm the release date for March. This all adds to the one report earlier that Final Fantasy 16 will also be announced with release date during Jeff Keighley's show at the Game Awards. Officially, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sequel is only slated to launch next year, but constant speculation has pegged the PS5 title. We are assuming it's coming to all consoles, but the article is just stating PlayStation 5. With a launch in March. Presumably, a brand new trailer with some gameplay will confirm the release date if the game is indeed planned to appear at the Game Awards. Star Wars Jedi Survivor will only add to the packed release schedule for early 2023, which already includes Forspoken, Dead Space, Hogwarts Legacy, Atomic Heart, Like a Dragon, Insin, and the PlayStation VR 2, as well as the remaster make of Resident Evil 4. What do we think? Do we think this is going to show up at the Game Awards? We did get that with the Disney event, if I remember rightly. We got a small, brief CGI trailer of the game, and we haven't seen anything or heard anything since. Do we think we're going to see it at the Game Awards? John Wolf, I'll come to you first. Do you think we're going to see it and get a release date?
I think so. It makes a lot of sense for I think it's about time, and I think that Jeff, Jeff Keighley, that is, I think that he has a knack for releasing big world premiere trailers and release dates and all that good stuff. I mean, for God's sake, they announced the Series X on his stage, so I definitely see this. 100% I see it happening at the Game Awards.
Yeah. Sentinel, what about yourself? Do you think you're going to see? Are you looking forward to playing the game? Did you play the first one?
Yeah, I played the first one. I did buy it on PlayStation 4. I actually also played it on the Series X whenever. I think it was on Game Pass for a while. Actually, it might still be. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know. It's kind of. It feels like. It kind of feels like a lot of people's biggest complaint about it was that how some of the levels required you to. It's like not a straight shot. It kind of requires you to figure out how you're gonna progress to a certain area. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's an interesting dynamic, and I do feel because Respawn is the ones behind it, obviously, and they're really good at what they do at crafting amazing levels, and I think they're going to take a lot of that criticism, and hopefully we'll see some of that in whatever trailer they show. They may not. It may just be a cinematic trailer. Who knows? But I do have faith that Respawn is going to want people to start talking about this as soon as possible, especially if that speculated date of March is accurate, because they're not going to bring this to the EA Play Game Pass thing day one. They're going to want people to buy this, on every console that it's available on. And I think the key to that is going to a show like the Game Awards, having an amazing trailer, and then after that, probably like every 2 weeks or maybe every month, have an info dump, have these gameplay trailers. Hell, they could drop a gameplay trailer, say, hey, this is gameplay from the game, where they show that some of the criticisms that people had about the first game has been addressed. It feels like a golden opportunity for them to really show it off. And I think if they were going to do it, the Game Awards would be the perfect place to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely agree. It's kind of like Game Awards is the last show of the year where, people, to be honest, I'm not speaking for everyone, but the majority of people watch the Game Awards for the trailers. They want to see new announcements and surprises. It's not so much about the awards. That's my personal, of many people I've spoken to. It's all about the trailers and what they're going to see in that. But John Wolf, did you play Jedi Fallen Order? Are you looking forward to playing this new one?
I did play it. I enjoyed it. I didn't beat it. I got really far in that game, dude. I think I'm more than halfway done with that game. And I did pick it up again once they did the update for the new consoles. I'm gonna pick it up day one. One of the things that I enjoyed the most about the game was that it was a story that was it was a very concentrated story, and I think that it was something that I was looking for in the Star Wars universe at the time, because we had just come off Battlefront and stuff like that, and I think that Respawn, they introduced that game in a time where I think that a lot of the consumer base and Star Wars fans were looking for something like that, and I think that they delivered on all aspects of it. As Sentinel said, I do agree, Sentinel, with those complaints about the game. I did find myself kind of like going back and forth, and it kind of like, I wish it was a little bit more linear on what I was doing here. So I'm on that boat, to be honest with you. That's kind of what kept me from like pushing all the way through, because when I got to that point, I was like, I'll get back to this. But I'm definitely looking forward to whatever Respawn releases. Man, ever since Respawn, was built from the ground up with Titanfall and Titanfall 2, I've been big fans of theirs. I think that they're one of the best developers when it comes to telling a story, right? I think that what they did with Titanfall 1 was very interesting, how they were able to wrap their narrative around a multiplayer experience, and then Titanfall 2 took it to the next level. And then obviously with the first Star Wars,
of the Star Wars. Sorry, we lost you for a second then, John. You're back again. You're all right.
And I apologize about that, guys, and to the chat. I just again, I'm not in the optimal. I'm not in my optimal setup here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'll pick it up on day one for sure.
Brilliant, good. I think I suppose I did enjoy the game because it has that Souls-like element. You know, you make your way through, and then if you heal, all the enemies are back, or if you once you go back to an area, they're all back again. The thing I absolutely hated the most about Jedi Fallen Order, there was no fast travel, and that map was awful, absolute awful. You looked at the map, you couldn't exactly tell where anything was that you were looking for, and the fact that you'd get through all the way through a level and then have to run all the way back again, it was that's what I found tedious, and that's the only reason that I haven't gone back to Fallen Order since the optimization patch. But no, I am looking forward to Jedi Survivor. Hopefully they've improved on a lot of stuff. I don't know how they're going to make it, how they're going to do it with the story. It's, it'll be interesting to see if they can bring in some more characters, some more surprises. But no, looking forward to it. Right, let's move on again. Obviously, I don't really want to rush us, but obviously I don't want to take up too much time of everyone. I'll go on to the one from you, Sentinel. This is from Thomas Greatorex from Game Rant. Rainbow Six Siege is finally adding crossplay and cross-progression on consoles. 7 years after the game's launch, Rainbow Six Siege finally introduces crossplay and cross-progression for console players. Since its release in December 2015, God, it's that old. It's 7. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, 2015. I thought it was 2018.
Yeah. No, it's pretty old. It's
wow, yeah. Just like reading it then and thinking, no, I'm sure it was like 2018 that came out, but fair enough, 2015. Rainbow Six Siege has gone 7 years without cross-play and cross-progression for those playing on consoles. However, this is finally set to change in a matter of days, with Ubisoft set to soon bring cross-progression and cross-play to Rainbow Six Siege consoles. They like to say that repeatedly. Cross-play, cross-progression between Rainbow Six players on PC, Stadia, which obviously is no more, rest in peace, Stadia, and Luna. Luna's the Amazon one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Luna?
Sorry, dude, you got me on that one.
had to put it in there. Rest in peace.
I just poured one out for Stadia, man.
It's strange because it's like I say with Luna, because that's Amazon's one. We still haven't got it here in Europe or UK. That is literally American based only. Still strange how long after, because it's been out for quite a while now, hasn't it? And it still hasn't ventured outside the country.
Yeah,
but no, fair enough. Luna Platforms was enabled in June 2021, with Ubisoft initially shooting to add Xbox and PlayStation users to this list by early 2022. Despite delays extending this deadline by a considerable amount, Ubisoft has finally given players an ultimatum for when console players will be able to log into their account across platforms and team up with friends across an array of console devices. This is good news, comes mere months after Rainbow Six Siege was finally brought to mobile. That I did not know. That is actually a surprise for me. When did it come to mobile? Is that recent?
I couldn't tell you.
I didn't even know. That's quite a surprise to me, but fair enough. This date is shown in Rainbow Six Siege Year 7 Season 4 reveal is December 6, 2022. Rainbow Six Siege has needed crossplay for a long time, and from this date, console players will finally be able to play alongside console users on other platforms, voice chat included. Not only this, but user account data will also be moved to the cloud, meaning console players can play Rainbow Six Siege on a range of devices such as Xbox One, PlayStation 5, all using the same account. This is a big step forward in making Rainbow Six Siege more accessible to console players, though it should still be noted that intentional matchmaking restraints have separated console players, PC Luna users into two different pools due to the entirely different levels of difficulty associated with the two styles of play. Alongside these changes to cross-progression and cross-play for console users, Year 7 Season 4 of Rainbow Six Siege also introduces a new operator and map alongside revamps to the Battle Pass, anti-cheat and rank systems. Rainbow Six Siege will also look to discourage intentional trolling by the means of a new reputation system. Well, I'm going to say off the bat that obviously Rainbow Six Siege, I very briefly played and I fell off very quickly because I found that I was not very good at it. And I just got annihilated and people kept booting me because I wasn't that good. Have either of you two, are you fans of the Rainbow Six Siege franchise? John, go to you first.
I played it when it first released, just like you did. I just found the pace to be a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to, and that's the kind of like that hectic Twitch-based shooter in Call of Duty. That's kind of like what I enjoy. That's the type of shooter that I enjoy, or more like in the lines of Halo. I do have a buddy that he plays Rainbow Six religiously, and he actually told me about this update, and he asked me if I was going to jump on and play with him finally, and I told him it sounds cool. I'll jump on with you for a little bit to check it out. But I do give Ubisoft a lot of credit for sticking with this game. This is another example as how we started the show talking about CD Projekt Red. Hats off to Ubisoft for sticking with this game and making it as big as it is today, and they've continued to invest. They've continued to expand, and this game gives me a lot of hope for Halo Infinite, and I think that Halo Infinite can learn a lot from Ubisoft on with this title. So I haven't had a lot of hands-on time. I'm planning on jumping on with my buddy, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, did you ever try the spin-off that they did? Is it because they changed it it wasn't Quarantine? What did they change? Extraction, wasn't it? Rainbow Six Extraction. Did you ever jump into that one? Like the spin-off?
I played it for a few hours when it released on Game Pass to check it out, and I enjoyed it for what it was. But again, it's one of those things, man, that there's just something about that engine that's not sticking with me, and I think that honestly it's a me problem. I just don't think I've given it a fair chance. I think it's a me problem, to be honest with you.
I tried Extraction, and I think after about an hour I stopped playing it because I just found it clunky. I didn't enjoy it. A complete different experience to what Rainbow Six Siege was. I've said I only briefly played that, but it was a completely different experience, and I didn't like it. And to be honest, even since its release, I don't think I've even really heard anyone even talk about it, if I'm honest. It just seems to have disappeared into the shuffle of games of the past, as they say. Sentinel, what about yourself? Are you a fan of the Rainbow Six Siege series franchise? And is this something that's any interest to you?
I played it for a while. Well, I mean, for a while, I mean like 2 weeks. But, I pre-ordered it when it first came out. I played it. And it was all right, except you always had, one guy out of like every other match shooting everyone in the back and then dropping out of the game. So, that trolling issue was definitely significant when it first launched. And it's a lot of times it just seemed like the people in the team weren't necessarily familiar with the way you got to play in Rainbow Six Siege, because of course it's not going to be like Battlefield or Call of Duty. It's very tactical, and you have to take your time. And so a lot of times I was matched with people, it's just, you could tell that they weren't comfortable playing that type of game, myself included. I was playing a lot of Battlefield at the time, so I kind of dropped out of it. And I think the people that enjoy it have probably stuck with it for a while, but I think them making cross progression and all that thing, I think it's good. It'll help to bring back maybe some of the people that dropped off just because, like a PlayStation gamer who has more friends on Xbox, but he doesn't have an Xbox, or he doesn't play the game on Xbox. I think it'll help to bring some of those people back. But, the Rainbow Six Extraction, I think I played it for maybe 2 hours tops. And again, I just was like, nah, I'm just not interested at all.
Yeah, it's something that, like I say, I might give it another go because, like I say, it was interesting. Obviously, I only played it briefly. I maybe, like I say, I did give it enough time. Maybe it's something I could put more time into. But then I also think, well, now you've got Battlefield 2042, which is out now on Game Pass Ultimate. It's like, if I had to pick between the two, would I go more to the Battlefield side? But yeah, I think I'd give it another go if I could get a team together, because I think it's one of them games you have to have a team. You've got to be able to work together. Everyone's got to be on headsets and plan, because if literally, you jump into Halo multiplayer, you're not in a team. Literally, you go, right, we need to, boom, everyone's disappeared and gone, run off. And I do find it can be one of them games that it's probably more enjoyable if you are a team and you are on with friends or whoever, to actually plan and work stuff that way. But it'd be interesting to see. Like I say, I do hope, like I say, that this will bring maybe more players into. I don't think you're really going to see console players wanting to try and play with PC players, because it's pointless, because you just get annihilated.
Yeah.
In any game where consoles playing against a PC player, you don't stand a chance, and that's just the way it is. But we'll see. Right, we'll get through this last topic, and then we'll do the draw, because obviously we're getting on time. Rumour: Sony clamping down on PS Store shovelware with new regulations. This comes from Push Square by Stephen Talaby. Okay, for a while now, the PS Store has been awash with dozens of cheap reskin games, produced solely to make a quick buck for offering easy trophies in exchange for pennies. These titles have become a bit of a problem on the platform storefront. They drown out more meaningful new software by popping up on a weekly basis. In some cases, now, according to one report, it seems Sony might finally be putting its foot down. Gaming site Dex.exe claims an anonymous source has sent it proof of policy changes from Sony that will stamp out or at least reduce the appearance of games like the Jumping, Quizadilia Turbo, Caravan Journey, and Stroke the Tortoise. Okay. What name for a game, Stroke the Tortoise. I can imagine people actually going on the store just to buy that to get a cheap platinum. Oh my God. Jeez, that got me. According to the report, which includes a screenshot of a letter sent out to developers, Sony will be implementing a number of extra steps to deter or eliminate the release of spam and copy-paste software. Games falling under Sony's definitions of this practice could be subject to various actions, such as restricted discoverability, only able to be found via a direct link, delisted from the PS Store, content refused publication, developer account suspension or termination. There are more measures, but these are pretty much the crux of it. If the letter is legitimate, and it looks to be so, studios making these games may not get very far in the future. Well, obviously, it's good that they are starting to clamp down on this, because you look on, there's Xbox the same. I think Nintendo have it. Steam definitely have it. It's all this shovelware games, cheap, pay a few pence, a few dollars to get a game, to get this top achievements or trophies for the easy platinums, and it does drown out these games that deserve that more of a spotlight, that someone just hasn't reskinned and put on, that someone's actually put time and effort into, and it gets drowned out on the store. But I don't know what you guys think, but personally, I think Sony's should be actually taking most of the blame here, because at the end of the day, a game, whatever game's made, Stroke the Tortoise, let's go with that one. They turn around to Sony and say, we want a platinum and 4 gold trophies or whatever. Yeah, okay, you've got it. There's your issue. They're giving, it actually has to go to Sony to be allowed to have trophies and platinums put into these games. They can't just do it off their own back. They have to apply to have this done. And from like different podcasts I've seen, a lot of the times, a lot of games get refused first time on like your indie devs or these shovelware titles, but when they apply for a second time, they get them. Why doesn't Sony just stop that? Stop giving them trophies, stop giving them platinums, and you're going to see these games disappear because there's no point having them. To me, Sony are encouraging them to do this because they want a cut of what the game makes. I think that's the that's the bigger issue is stop giving them the trophies, stop giving them the platinums, and these games will go away. You won't need to put these measures in place because you've caused it in the first place. Sentinel, I'll come to you first. What do you think? Do you think Sony could be more to blame than the shovelware, or do you think it's what the measures they're putting in place is a good idea?
I think they didn't have these measures in place because they didn't think it would be as big of a problem as it's become. And when it became aware that a lot of these were kind of bloating the store and taking, kind of distracting people from better titles that actually had a lot of creativity go into it, then PlayStation probably internally was like, okay, who authorized this shit? They had to figure out who it was that was responsible for allowing this stuff to, pretty much make its way onto the store. And once the situation was handled internally, who knows how it was handled, whether someone was fired, whether they went to a different department or they stepped down, whatever. Doesn't really matter. They decided internally that they needed to do something. And now they're coming out with these measures to cut down on games that are very, very generic. They're very non-creative. I think that's a good move, but it kind of feels like this was, like a self-inflicted wound by Sony that they're trying to bandage. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it just seems like it just, to me, it's just Sony have caused it. This is going on years. This is going back to PlayStation 3 where they just let anything in, give them all platinums because it's like, well, we're making money off all these games anyway. And now they're looking and thinking, oh, hang on a minute. Bit of a problem here. We literally all these games are getting drowned out. All these things keep popping up. Why are we giving them all these trophies? Who's responsible for it? Wearing on the Sony pecking order has authorized this, but that's just me. What about you, John Wolf? What do you think?
I think that I like what Sentinel said. I think that Sony, they're primarily to blame for this, and I can say I can say with all certainty more than likely is that the bottom line is that they were making money off this. So why, they weren't even batting an eye. They're like, okay, well, if those are the games that people want to buy because they want to, blow up their platinum trophies and they find value in that, then by all means have at it. Give them more. We'll give you as much as these little devs are trying to push out. And then, you have these individuals that took advantage of a flawed system and said, hey, people are willing to pay for platinums basically, and we're providing a service to them. So here you go. Here's a little game where you have to stroke the turtle and you'll get, and you'll get a platinum in 5 minutes or whatever the case may be. I personally have never engaged. I don't even think I have one platinum trophy on the PlayStation Network, to be honest with you. And I've been getting trophies since the PS3 days. And it just goes to show you, I just find the achievement system and the Xbox ecosystem to be kind of like the one that I care about the most. But I can see where individuals that are more invested into the PlayStation ecosystem, that's a badge of honor for them, for them to say, hey, I have this many platinum trophies and I don't care how I got them as long as I got them. I think that Sony, I'm glad that they're taking measures to correct the situation. I hope that they are for the integrity of just the system in general. But I'm kind of skeptical too, because again, if they're making money off of it and it's incentivizing people to buy those games, I'll put it to you like this: if all of a sudden they shut this off completely and nobody buys those games anymore, who wins here, right? Like, I think that Sony could be in a spot like, okay, who's winning here? Because all you're doing is adding value to a system that is really just for showing off in a certain way. So I'm glad to hear it sounds like they're doing something. but I'm skeptical, and I would like to see a follow up to this story where, hey, now there's integrity and measures put into place where we're going to cut this out completely. And you know what? I'll tip my hat off to them if they're able to accomplish that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see where they go and how things progress. We'll keep an eye on what happens. Hopefully, we get something officially announced, and we'll go from there. Right, I think we'll call that a night for the topics. We'll do the draw now. Obviously, I've got everyone's name that's been in chat. I'll read them names out just to make sure I've got everyone. I've not included Stubbs Gaming as he asked not to be included. I've got Gustavo, Ariel, One Nutter Quitter, Mr. Auditor 96, Draw, Azula, Muppet 1169, Luke Steele, Finber, Go, it's Timmy, Scott X2, Safu, and Selig Chan. Right, I think I have got everyone there. Let me have another quick look through chat just to make sure I've got everyone. Did I? Yeah, I called out Finber. Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely got everyone. Right, good luck, everyone. And we shall do the draw. Spinning now. Typical. It's a I left a space in and it landed on the one with
Nice.
I better respin that one. That is my fault. I do apologize. Let me redo that again. That is my fault.
So let me get this straight. The winner gets Stroke the Turtle, right? On PSN?
That's it.
Wow.
Oh my God. My app's just crashed. Sorry, guys. Bear with me 1 second. This is what you get when you download cheap apps.
BMG didn't like the winner, so he's spinning it again.
No, go, jeez.
I just play.
Right, right? Let's do that. Let's do that again. There we go. Right. Now I think I've got it working right. Mr. Auditor 96, you are our winner of the
Congrats.
Horizon Forbidden West game for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 cross-gen game. If you're not following me on Twitter, if you can drop me a tweet or follow me on Twitter so I can DM you. All you need to do is show me proof in the DM that you are subscribed, and I will send that code to you as soon as possible. But congratulations. But that does us for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us in chat. It's been great. Again, congratulations to Mr. Auto 96. You're very welcome, my friend. John Wolf, thank you very much for being our guest tonight. It's been a pleasure to have you on, sir. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, for sure. You guys can hit me up on Twitter the same way that I spelled my name there, John Wolf, with the X in the front and the back. You can find me on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam with the same handle. Guys, it's been a pleasure, and again, I'm really grateful to you guys for inviting me on your show. Well on your way to 1,000 and plus. The sky's the limit, guys. And I'm really, like I said, I really appreciate it in our conversation here today. I think it's very important for different personalities and minds, and I prefer this console or that console or this ecosystem, for us to hook up, talk about the gaming industry as a whole, and I love the positivity that you two gentlemen put out there, and definitely hope it's not the last time, guys. Thank you so much.
No, definitely no. It's been a pleasure to have you. It's great. That's kind of what we're trying to go for here. Yeah, we may be a PlayStation podcast, but we're also like to look at things from both sides. Look at other consoles, because we all play more than one console. We're not just cheering on one side and not the other. We're looking at things from a wide point of view, the good, the bad, from both sides. If they're doing bad stuff, we're coming down, we're talking about it. They're doing good stuff, positive, we're talking about it as well. But no, it's great to have you, and I'm definitely sure we'll have you on again. Sentinel, my friend, where can you tell everyone? Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Sure. On Twitter, Twitch, and Xbox, it's all actually the same thing. It's Sentinel17. It's S3NT1N3L17. And then, of course, on YouTube, it's the same way, but it's Sentinel17 Gaming. I'll actually put the spelling of it in the chat so no one gets confused. And then, of course, I am also on the Stasis Chat podcast on YouTube as well, panel member with BMG. So you can find me there every Monday afternoon. It's Monday afternoon my time. It's actually Monday evening for BMG. So
it is.
If you want to check us out, you can check us out there as well.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And again, thank you for everyone coming. Thank you, Sentinel, my co-host. Thank you, John Wolf, our guest. And we will catch you next week. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Take care.
Good afternoon.
Take care.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving to everyone in America.
Absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving.